Sup gamers, Rainy Potato here, reviewing the patch notes for the 1.0 release on Steam. Let's go ahead and get through it. It's pretty long, so strap yourselves in. Also, Red Hook thanked me personally. I am one of the playtesters. So if the game's good, you can give credit to me for playtesting. Alright, so obviously Flagellant is coming, Act 4 is coming, Act 5 is coming. Those are the major things. Comprehensive tutorial, that's very good. I'm always a fan of tutorials in games, especially for challenging games. With this many mechanics, you gotta have a comprehensive tutorial. That way these noobs will not have any excuse for not knowing. Prologue. Rebalanced Denial Confession. We knew this was coming. We've got cosmetics, hero palettes, weapon kits. They look pretty good. So I'm pretty excited for those. Infernal and Radiant are back. Obviously, they'll cover that more later. New deliverable items, hero remains. It sounds very interesting. Corpses are back, of course. Flame gameplay effects now vary by confession. That's actually pretty interesting. Custom keybinds is amazing. Mouse only is amazing. A lot of new barks. Yeah. All right, tutorial been thoroughly reworked. There's now a prologue. So when you start the game, when you start a new profile, you'll go through a prologue. You'll basically go through the valley, do a fight, and basically learn that way. And then you'll go into Denial. All tutorial events revised. Sure, good. Ooh, videos have been added to tutorial events. That's actually pretty cool. Alright, Denial has been restructured to be good for noobs. That's all you people. Alright, so Denial is now only 2 regions. And it's only the Sprawl and the Tangle. We briefly had this in the experimental branch. And then they took it out. You can actually do runs in under an hour. We actually did an under an hour run when this first came out. So I'm excited to have this back. We'll be doing some wild challenge runs. Like I'm going to do my weird random path, random skill runs on Denial. So that'll be fun. Also, you do not need a trophy to do the boss. Shackles have been rebalanced to be a bit easier. I suppose that's good for beginners. They could be hard. I mean, if you don't understand what's going on and you don't have a solid plan of attack or you don't have any scaling, the shackles can be overwhelming with 4 actions a turn and lots of stun. And I guess since it's supposed to be a beginner confession, I'm alright with that. No champions or antiquarian will appear in Denial. That's pretty interesting. The champions are the special enemies. I believe the Bullseye Barret, her ladyship, was it Hallkeeper, I think, from the Shroud, and Black Phillip. So that's interesting. We have each hero has 3 color palettes and 3 weapon kits. It's pretty cool. They're configurable. A lot of people were confused by this. They're like, oh, they're path-based, so that means you can't pick what you want. No, you can mix and match however you want it. Of course, that would be how it works with the with cosmetics. All right, so they have Infernal Flame, and they've also brought back Radiant Flame. This is the beginner noob mode. Radiant Flame is available at all Valley Inns and gives various gameplay boosts. And this is the interesting part here. Each time you fail a confession, the Radiant Flame will get stronger and stronger. However, taking the Radiant Flame will reduce your candles, but I'm sure it won't be too bad. I'm sure a beginning player will probably benefit more from taking the Radiant Flame and taking the candle loss and actually being able to beat this confession rather than banging their head against the wall playing on normal. Although, I would say with the game currently, just doing Denial, if you have experience in Darkest Dungeon 1, or if you have some experience in Darkest Dungeon 2, you probably won't need Radiant Flame, at least not for Denial. If you have a decent amount of experience And if you watch my videos and guides, wink. Infernal Flame is back. They now have 5, each with a different theme. I'm pretty excited to see how this happens. You also, of course, get candle bonuses. Let's see, this is an interesting one. Hero remains. If a hero dies, you bring the remains to the next inn and get rewarded with candles. That's probably not going to be a strategy, but it's at least interesting that it happens. All right, this is a good one. All abandoned run candle penalties have been removed. I thought that was terrible. It was supposed to be like, risk reward. Oh, do you challenge the next inn? Do you just run away? But like, you don't want to just run away and abandon run. Like, that's cringe. So I really like that they changed that. First time victory bonuses for each confession increased dramatically. That's good. More candles early. More bonuses for actually winning. Increased candle rewards. Increased Valley candle rewards. So basically it looks like also reducing prices. So it looks like Altar of Hope looks like progression will be faster. Hero unlock prices, however, double to 8. And this just further proves my strategy. A lot of people tell you to just unlock every hero first. In my opinion, that does not make sense. It's not like you can use all, 11 heroes now at once. I've never been an advocate of unlocking all the heroes at once. It's always been my policy to add like 1 or 2 and start just introducing them one by one into your roster, while also buying hero pads and buying upgrades in the Intrepid Coast, unlocking items. Like, you want a balanced approach. You don't want to just go all in on heroes, even though they're the most important section. Obviously, I'll go into this more in my Altar of Hope guide that'll be out tomorrow. But I'm glad this definitely confirms my opinion that unlocking all heroes at once is not the play. Let's see, Deathblow Resist is always the first upgrade. That's interesting. And you can now save your candles. That's pretty cool. I don't know how often it'll matter, but that's cool at least. All right, now balance changes. Now this is a big one. The Blessed and Cursed skills are now weighted by usage. It used to be based off mastered skills, and it used to only be cursed skills would trend towards the mastered skills. But now they're weighting them toward by usage. This is incredible, both Blessed and Cursed. So obviously this will make the game easier on average, because at least if you're a decent player, this will lead to more snowballing, I think, but I'm okay with it. Like, if you're like me and other good players, you're getting mostly positive relationships, and now you're going to get your most used skills to be blessed more often. It's going to just lead to steamrolling runs. And if you get negative relationships, you're going to get your most used skills just completely nerfed to the ground. I think that's fair. I kind of like the snowballing. I've always liked that in Darkest Dungeon. I know a lot of people don't like it, but so make sure to watch my guides on relationships. I have a really good one, I think. I don't want to be like bragging, but pretty comprehensive. But there are lots of guides out there. So definitely relationships and stress management are the key to this game. Enemy advantage tuning pass. Sure. Meltdown hero stress now drops to 1. Overstress. All right, so if you get a meltdown or resolute, you now completely resist stress for 3 rounds. That's actually interesting. That makes meltdowns very interesting. Like, meltdowns are now not bad at all. I also see this here, affinity penalty down to 3. And obviously that doesn't matter at the mount. So meltdowns are actually good in a lot of scenarios now. With stress resist, as long as you have a heal to get yourself, away from low HP, that's an interesting change. I mean, stress management is still important, mostly for affinity, but now you don't have to worry about stress as much in the mountain, I would guess. And Resolute is now stronger. Interesting. Adjusted overall affinity change rates to reduce current positive relationship heavy bias. All right, so they're making this harder. So we'll see what the changes are. I'll obviously keep y'all up to date on the best strategy for relationships. Champion monsters no longer appear until Confession 3. That's interesting. That's very interesting. So they're trying to make... That makes Act 1 and 2 much easier. No diseases in the valley, sure. Reduced Sluice appearance chance. This is questionable to me. I liked... Like, currently we get guaranteed Sluice after the first region and the next region after that, if you skip it, right? And I really like that because it lets you plan out, like, which trophy you can get. You can really force trophies, force trinkets, force regions. And I guess they don't like that, but I kind of like the idea of planning out runs ahead of time. So I'm actually pretty bummed about this. We'll see how it feels. And this means, like, you're not guaranteed a Sluice, which I'm unsure about. That's the first change I definitely would say I'm negative on. Rare combat items will no longer show up in common combat item draw table. Alright, so I don't actually know what rare combat items. I assume just the better items. I've never actually... Is there like a rarity? Do they have different colors? I'm actually not sure. But that's good. You know, you can't just run over and get amazing stuff. No more cultists in the sluice. No more easies. Sure, harder sluice is good. I do think they need to add something to the sluice. I don't agree with a lair or a guardian, like some people have said. I just want probably one or two new enemies for the sluice. Quirk-driven choices. That's good. This is really good. Now, when a quirk forces you to do something at an encounter or forces a certain interaction, it'll tell you what it did. New logic. Ooh, this is good. At least one hero will want to interact with the encounter. So you can never just leave. Blah, blah, blah. You'll always have a chance to interact, even if it destroys relationships. I really like that. All right, they're trying to make academic studies better. That's good because most of them kind of suck. All right, I like this, giving them more identity. We'll have to learn more which studies go in which regions so we can kind of learn what we want. Ooh. Oh, this is a really good change. The exact academic studies type will now be scouted, so we have to actually learn. I don't know the names either. Like, I can tell by the curio if it's like the pocket watch. I can tell that, obviously. So this is really good. So we got to learn academic studies now. I will probably do a video on academic studies now. Probably won't be till June because I'm kind of packed right now. All right, new items that are exclusive to academic studies. I like that. Anything to make academic studies better, I'm all for. Revamped hero stories. This is good. Although I'm still pretty down on most hero stories. I like the Vestal one. But most of them are just kind of crap. This is a very interesting change. You can no longer get hero shrines if your whole party has completed the backstories. So this is no longer a thing to scout for. I did kind of, occasionally you go there, you get a free mastery, nothing bad happens. It's a free node, you can recover from a fight. But I really like that they're doing this. It's just a dead node most of the time once you got your backstories done, so that's good. Ooh, new hero goals for each hero skill. That's very good. Hero goals don't matter at the point I'm at with a full unlocked profile, but we will start a new profile at some point in May, so that'll be interesting. And then the hero goals will obviously only generate when the skill is unlocked. New barks, amazing. New curio items. New combat item, Shred of Decency, to help combat cultist worship. So I wonder, So does this just like straight up remove a worship token, or how does this actually help? That's because that would be very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Whiskey flask, now always available at inns. That's good. That gives you both a stress heal and a big affinity changer that you can buy at every inn. More vague and distant trinkets. That's whatever for the hoarder. Pretty cringe. New shop order. All right, Guardian fights now reward relics and baubles. So that's just extra loot every region. That's all right, probably. Here's a big one, Bone Saw. It's now 12 relics instead of 35 baubles. Nobody bought Bone Saws, right? Unless you were doing it for like the cap. But even still, like, you don't spend 35 baubles on a Bone Saw. I guess it's I guess with like the current system, you have a lot more baubles, so maybe sometimes you did, but I think that's a good change. Chalk Dust, now in the default item pool, ignores dodge and prevents stealth. So this is still not that useful, but probably usable in the Sluice. Just toss it on one of the skeevers. Or no, that's the skulkers are the little ones, yeah. And so that's not terrible. Ooh, this is also good in Act 1. With the altar buff in Act 1, you can block the... Because that's really annoying in Denial, especially. Getting double stealthed. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right, Stagecoach items. All right, this is a huge change. Baubles are now purchased... Or Stagecoach items are now purchased with baubles. This is a huge game changer. And like I said earlier, you get more baubles than relics now, right? So now you have a choice, and especially once you start getting upgrades to Journey in the Altar of Hope and start showing up with like, what is it, like 50 baubles at N1. And normally at N1, you want to buy other stuff with your relics. Like you want to buy combat items, you want affinity stuff, you want heals if they're there, you want food. Now instead, you can get to N1, you can get your pet, and you can actually afford the Stagecoach items. We'll have to see what the exact prices are, if it's a 1-to-1 or if they're cheaper or whatever. But now you can actually get your Stagecoach build without compromising your overall run by, you know, not having money to remove quirks, not having money for food, not having money to buy items. This is a big change. Makes it very interesting to, like, you got to weigh whether you get Stagecoach items now or if you want to try for a trinket later. Obviously, this makes doing lairs and stuff good because you get a ton of baubles that way. I'm definitely going to be buying more Stagecoach items because currently, if you ever watch any of my runs, I don't buy that many Stagecoach items. That's a huge change. Storage trunk gets increased inventory slot. That's good. Storage trunk was kind of garbage. Increased chance for healing items, sure. They changed the police skin. That's the snake. You get a bigger healing received bonus. This was like one of the worst in the game, so I'm glad they've changed it. We'll see how good it is. The Carrion Eater. So this is the one where you kill a corpse and you receive a bonus. Now you get a bigger heal and a crit token. So this makes this a lot more interesting. And they've made the croc slightly stronger. I still don't think 3% is enough. That's a lot of movement. I mean, if you're doing like solo finale stuff, that's pretty decent. And if you're like full movement team, that's decent, but you're still rarely going to get value out of the croc. Locked strong box, drop from swine enemies. All right, in-item changes. All right, Book of Body Tales is now a juiced stress heal. I rarely need stress heal this big, so this is kind of irrelevant. And I also rarely buy this. Poetry is now a 2-target. Oh, and Poetry is now affinity. So this gives us another affinity item. Guaranteed +1 affinity. And still a stress heal of 4 on 2. So now Poetry, this is actually OP. I mean, I guess it's twice the price of Pipeweed for double stress heal. but same affinity, so it's actually not that good. Probably not worth buying, although if you have to buy it, it's whatever, but at least I won't be throwing it away now. Holy Beads has a chance to provide dodge. Currently, Holy Beads is a chance for either speed or block, so that's cool. Alright, so Mop and Bucket now does stuff. No one has literally no one has ever used Mop and Bucket in the history of humanity, so that's pretty good. This is a big change. So Pipeweed was OP, right? It's cheap. It was, what, 8 relics? And you get -2 stress and +1 affinity guaranteed. So they have now nerfed this to lose a speed every time you use a Pipeweed. Of course, this can also help if you want to like manipulate your own speed for like for the trinkets like Readout. But obviously it'll hurt some of your faster heroes like Virtuoso Jester, Sharpshot Highwayman, who want to use Snappy Swig and stuff like that. Playing cards have been improved. That's good. They're a base item. They feel pretty bad, so this should help. Ooh, Amorous Ballads got an update. It's either +3 or -1. That's a very strong upgrade. Ooh, Touching Dirges got a slight buff. That's very strong. Alright, Stew has now increased the stacking. I don't know how much that matters, but it also provides a speed, so that's cool. Whiskey Barrel and Whiskey Bottle have been nerfed. That's maybe probably fair. Oh, Whiskey Flask. Okay. I was confused. So Whiskey Flask is currently the item that just gives you -2 stress. So they have changed. This is now available at every inn. This is a base unlock, I believe. So this now gives you another item that's guaranteed to show up at inns that targets 2 heroes. I assume it still has the -2 stress and +1 affinity. So it's basically Pipeweed, but way better. And always available. That's good. That's very good. Just more... They said they're going to make affinity harder to get. So I guess they increased the... I also like that they increased the default pool for affinity, because it feels pretty bad to try and increase your affinity without unlocks. Just spamming playing cards and Pipeweed. Blah, blah, blah. Other items. Strength token from Barbaric Yop now guaranteed. Empty Stein still sucks. Ooh, this is interesting. So Rotten Tomato is now a breakthrough. It makes breakthrough good. Breakthrough now applies a random negative token and a combo token with Rotten Tomato. It still has the death blow resistance debuff, and it has the rank 2 damage bonus. So that's... We'll see how it works. We'll see if breakthrough... It's probably still not good, right? But, you know. The Seaman's Boots have been juiced. Storage Room Key, which is garbage because Physician is garbage. Now guaranteed. That's actually much better. That's actually... Yeah, that's much, much better. Strong Shackles has been buffed. But Strong Shackles is garbage. Literally no one has ever used that trinket. Ooh, Carved Toy is now chance for crit token on turn start. That's a nice buff. Pile of Ash changed Backdraft from 50% crit to stealth on Backdraft. Huh. Interesting. Sure. Alright, Uncommon Seashell. Gain when hit, 1 bleed. Isn't that like a nerf to Uncommon Seashell, which was already kind of bad? Alright, Inevitable End has been changed. Break now, instead of Death Blow resistance penetration, it's now cannot gain block. Remove negative tokens, sure. Selfish Motivation, increase damage rush. Alright, this is good. Of course, Selfish Motivation still kind of sucks. maybe it's usable now with 50%. So negative token gain is now guaranteed. So like taunts are negative tokens. Of course, it's hard to keep taunts on yourself. So this is maybe like a leper thing with lots of blind. This is still questionable. Selfish motivation, but maybe. All right, Snap Judgment has been changed. Now it's turn start 1 speed. Add a positive token if you're 8 speed or better. If you're better than 12 speed, remove combo and get an extra action. That's kind of interesting. I don't know if it's good. It's only usable in like a few heroes, I guess. All right, Spoken Sharply has gotten a buff. This might actually be usable now. I have never actually used this. So this is the one where on hit you gain health. It's only good on like certain ones. So like Retribution, I guess AoE is good. Temptation, they changed it. So you either get an extra action or 1 damage. That's fine, honestly. The Stress Resistance Dark Impulse. So you only have a 20... was the worst Dark Impulse. You were guaranteed to take damage if you had... if you took stress damage. And it got you killed a lot. So it was pretty bad, right? Anyway, they've changed this now. So it's much better now. Yeah, probably usable, although it's pretty hard. Heartshade Padlock, this is one I never used. Added on decreased Resolute bonus. Add on Resolute, so that kind of sucks, right? Because you don't really care about Resolute chance. You don't care about gaining stuff on Resolute. So that still sucks. Alright, so they changed these so they'll make sense. Alright, Stealth will no longer protect the last hero if they're the only remaining target. This isn't that relevant for your own team because this would only be relevant if you're like trying to stall with like Grave Robber. But this makes fights easier. If you're fighting a stealth enemy, then you can, like if you're fighting the Skeevers, or what are they, the Skulkers or what they're called. So you can just nuke. If you like nuke his allies, you can then attack the Skeever through. Reduce the Meltdown Affinity penalty, we knew that. Deathless has been renamed Defiant. They changed Sepsis to Hemic Rot, sure. Grave Robber. Grave Robber has gotten all of her damage buffed. Alright, Lunge no longer has that pathetic low end. High end is the same. Looks like they basically just buffed her low end. That's good. We'll see how she works. She was already better with the changes to the path system, where she got her damage built in, so she benefited more from strength tokens. But we'll see. We'll see. Hellion has been changed. All right, so this is interesting. The Bloodlust has now the duration, which is the Bloodlust gives you more damage against bleeding targets. And that has now been increased for 5 turns. I still don't know if it's usable because, like, how often are you doing bleed teams? And then you're doing slightly more damage against... Because this is not, like, for you to bleed the opponent and then start doing more damage, right? Because Bloodlust, or Bleed Out, wins you. So we'll see if this is usable. It also grants bleed resistance. That's pretty cool. Breakthrough has been reworked as a high mobility single target defense breaker. Single target now? I guess we'll see how it works. We'll see how Breakthrough works. Alright, this is a huge change. Howling End no longer ignores guard, or block. And Howling End no longer ignores block or guard on plus. That's a huge change. Now, Howling End is still great against trash mobs. Don't get me wrong. It's still, you know, easy to scale with strength and crit. It's still a great attack. but no longer ignoring block or guard. It definitely hurts it, especially in like certain fights. Like this is a huge, huge nerf for fights like, say, the Act 3 boss, where they often end up with block tokens. Basically, any fight with block tokens, this is kind of brutal. Also, Howling End now moves you back 1 rank. Now, of course, you still have toe-to-toe. You upgrade toe-to-toe, you howl, and then you toe-to-toe. And this might actually end up being a positive. You can, like, play games with the Highwaymen, for example. So, I think that's actually pretty cool. If it bleeds, damage is being increased. That's good. It was horrific. One of the worst skill, arguably one of the worst skills in the game. Crit chance is increased, and the bleed on upgrade has been increased. I don't know if this is enough to make it viable. I just don't think sitting in rank 2 and spamming this is a good thing. I would definitely equip it if it was usable in rank 1. Until then, we'll see. This is a huge change here. So Highwayman's Striking Shot Plus is now 2 turns instead of 2 rounds. So this thing is basically only used against the Librarian. That's its primary use, to prevent the Librarian from getting a million dodge. And it still wasn't that viable. Like, people told me Striking Shot Plus was great for Librarian. It really wasn't, because you only got 2 rounds and he has, like, what, 3 rounds per turn? But now, if it's 2 turns, this is actually huge. This makes Tracking Shot like definitely a must take and a must use on round 1 against the Librarian. Like, this is huge. Cause of Death no longer subject to crit and damage adjustments. Interesting. Alright, Runaway changes. Alright, so you no longer apply burn when missing a target with combo. Sure. Backdraft token interactions have been standardized to match Cause of Death. Backdraft is no longer subject to crit or damage adjustments. Ooh, that's bad. So Backdraft, which is already a meme skill that was only good in like 1 scenario, it has now been heavily nerfed. So it acts like Cause of Death, basically. Even though you don't really have any burn heroes, so you can't build up dots like that. Now, obviously, the burn stays on, unlike Cause of Death, where it removes the burn. But I can't see Backdraft ever being good now. They do increase the damage to 100%. But that's not enough. Backdraft is now bad, I think. Because think about it. So what we did with our previous Backdraft build, I guess if you have application length, you get 3x5 with Magnesium Rain, and then a 15. That's just not good. Now, maybe it was OP. You know, I did the video where I did 138 damage with no critter strength, but yeah, so Backdraft is no longer a thing, basically. Kind of funny that they just straight up nerfed the Runaway. Like, you know, they buff everyone. I guess Hellion got a nerf with Howling End. But like, they buff all this, and then Runaway's just like, no, we're going to slap you down. All right, Vestal. She is also getting the buff for Illumination. You can now prevent dodge for 2 turns instead of 2 rounds. This makes her stronger again against the Librarian, so that's nice. All right, Cultist. Ambushes at 0 torch and Confessions 1 or 2 no longer contain Deacon or Cardinal. That sucks. I mean, ambushes never really happened. And I guess, like, if you're a new player, you're probably dead if you get that, but you should be dead, right? If you don't manage the torch. So that's kind of cringe. Ambushes at 0 torch and Confession 5 are now exemplar fights. This is great. I want Confession 5 to be brutal, so that's good. Cardinal appears more often at the 2nd Oblivion's Rampart. Altar spawns less in rank 1 at the 2nd Oblivion's Rampart. Both good. Alright, looks like we got a ton of Cultist changes. Ooh, Evangelists have increased their HP. That's pretty brutal. They no longer spawn in with dodge. Okay. Evangelist used to spawn in with dodge plus. All right, in Confession 1 and 2, they spawn... Okay, block is a little bit easier to deal with, I think. Although we no longer have Howl, so... Maybe. And then block plus in Confession 3 or higher. That's pretty cool. And then Nocturne Commune is block instead of dodge. All right, so that makes them a little more manageable. It was really random, and this also kind of weakens... You used to walk into Cultist fights with a bunch of AoE and a bunch of combat items to clear tokens. You no longer do that. You just have to nuke your way through block plus. This strengthens dots overall. That's good. And, ooh, no dodge on Rush Judgment either. So you really benefit from knocking them back. So Rush Judgment is like garbage now. All right, that's good. Good stuff. All right, they only get regular dodge in Confessions 1 or 2. Again, making the first Confessions easy. Face Your Confession is now regular dodge in Confessions 1 or 2. Sure. Minor nerfs to the Cherub. Ooh, these are huge changes. All right. Flesh Weaving is no longer AoE now. But they have buffed it. It's now single target buff. It's 6 regen on Confessions 1 and 2. It's 10 regen on Confession 3 or higher. That's insane. 10 regen? Can you imagine a 10 regen Exemplar? Plus, when he sacrifices, it's even like... That's actually insane. Ooh. This is even more brutal. Flesh Weaving gains block now for the altar, making them even harder to nuke. So all this extra block means DOT teams are back in. Definitely want DOT going into cultists of some kind. This is going to hurt those direct damage teams that I love so much. It's a good change. I like dot teams. I want them to keep making dots. I want, you know, direct damage and DOTs to be viable. So those are both really good. Obviously, we have the new altar skills for the new confessions. Bone Weaving removes vulnerable tokens on Confession 4. Sure, vulnerable tokens aren't really a thing. Removes weak tokens on Confession 5. Sure, whatever. Those don't feel too strong, so Bone Weaving kind of feels weak. Flesh Weaving is now OP. Heralds no longer can do inversion on lower confessions, but it's now a high priority skill. It already felt like it was a high priority skill, but I guess it's more. Weird change here. I'm not sure about this, because this is like his main mechanic, right? The flesh warps where it goes back and forth between melee and ranged. So now you're going to walk into Confession 3 and you're going to be like, what the heck is going on, right? With warping flesh. Not sure about this. I mean, it's to make these early confessions easier, but I'm not sure how it's going to work in practice. Granted by his presence to other cultists. Alright. I didn't even know about the debuff resistance. Am I dumb? Tropic Star can no longer be used from middle ranks. That's interesting. Ooh, and Tropic Star only targets 2 random heroes. But it's now stronger and guaranteed stress. But I think this is an overall nerf to the Cardinal. The heck is this? Alright, so Exemplar doesn't exist in Confession 1 because of the shorter region. And it no longer receives Entertainment in Confession 2. Alright, so Act 2 is easy now. You bums have no excuses for not nuking Confession 2 to oblivion. And they nerfed Rapture's Beauty. Come on, man. I need my Exemplar to murder me. I mean, that's not that huge. That's not his big attack. Alright, Fanatics. No more than one hero can receive combo with her ladyship. I've still never seen Combustion, so that doesn't really matter to me. Ooh. Maybe I will see Combustion now. So Whip Trip applies combo. If you guys don't know, her ladyship, if you're burning with combo, I believe it is, it just converts your burn to straight damage, like it nukes you to oblivion. from what I understand, but I have 1,800 hours. I've never seen combustion. All right, so maybe we'll see it now. Blah, blah, blah. Sure, I don't know what that means. All right, so they have changed the fog penalties. So it's a 33% chance of stress, and you either get blind, vol, or nothing. All right, that's better. That's better. That's much, 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 much better. And they also, you get stress heal when the fog lifts. So the fog has been nerfed. I'm happy. I would have been okay if they added fog to like other regions instead, but I don't want one region that's just like brutal. And also, if you beat the Leviathan, you can no longer get fog. That's good. That was kind of annoying. That's kind of an issue. All right, bosuns can't use their cheat move, which stuns you, or less likely to use it. All right, nerfed cabin boys to oblivion. Whetstone only available from rank 4. Debone, so fishmonger gets nuked from orbit. Wharf rats have been faster. That's cool. All right, Breath of the Sea is either blind or Vuln instead of rolls on both. All right, they reduced batter stress damage. That's good. Batter was garbage. Reduced Tidal Surge stress damage. Either the Storm no longer ignores guard or stealth. Ooh, that's interesting. So guard and stealth are things now in the Leviathan fight. That's interesting. I don't fight the Leviathan often, but those are both very, very interesting. Lost Battalion mashes heavily. Ooh, all right, so the Tangle. Weakest region in the game by far. Needed a buff. Looks like we got the buff. Let's look. All right, so you no longer consume taunt on your AoE. That's cool. Oh, ho, ho, look at this. Bishops now spawn with the benediction tokens. Debuff resist increased, speed increased. Serve once more is now high priority. That is his resurrection that he can do with 2 benediction tokens. Serve once more can now resurrect drummers. And it can't be used in rank 1. All right. Strike now moves the bishop back, so you can't yank them forward and then have that stop the bishop forever. That's good. Penance no longer self-damaging. Penance now generates 1 or 3 benediction tokens. Purge the Unworthy has a cooldown. Smite average damage increased with a cooldown. So this will be very, very interesting with Bishop Drummer mashes. You better bring some back rank damage to the Tangle now, because this is brutal. Marching Order speed boost increased to 2. It's got a cooldown. Ooh, Focus Fire can now deal 2 stress. That's crazy. And it's more... Ooh, now it's going to target heroes at low health, but not on rank 4. They changed defensive formation. I wonder how that happened. Volley removes blind on the Arbalist. Okay. Removed weak on the Knight. But you can now stun the drummer and it will work. All right, so very interesting changes here. That Focus Fire targeting low health is scary. Very scary. Focus Fire is his forces taunt on the opponent. All right, Foot Soldiers are getting a huge buff. 6 to 9 from 4 to 7. That's actually brutal when you think about Ordainment. Plus 40%. And then add in crits. What's 40%? That moves it to 11. That's pretty solid. Chance to prevent block gain. Oh. These are some insane changes. What is this? You can't buff the Knight. Knight now spawns with 1 or 2 block. Increased death blow to 60? What is this? Increased biting blade damage and crit? Increased the bleed? On flat? Ooh. Wow. Tangle is going to be hard now, guys. Tangle is going to be hard. Bullseye Barret, increased speed, increased resistance. All right, now Barret has a much higher likelihood to attack his chosen target. That's good. It felt like he never chose his attack his chosen target, which meant you never got the damage. So he is now stronger. All right, Dreaming General changes. The Dreaming General is the easiest boss in the game. And he's got a really good trophy, 2 really good trophies. Let's see his changes. All right, so they reduce his HP. Interesting. Increased the damage, just the top end. Oh, you see this? So, the Dreaming General is the only boss in the game that does not do bleed. Lair boss. You get a ton of burn from the Librarian. You get bleed from the Leviathan. You get blight from the Harvest Child. Now Waking Dead, which is his nuke, now inflicts bleed. So this is very dangerous now. It used to be not that bad because like you took a lot of stress in this fight, right? For the most part. But you never died. Like no one's ever died to this, right? Me actually dying like 2 weeks ago. Only one hero died though. Now Waking Dead is brutal. You really got to think about it. Nightmare damage increased. I've never had Nightmare. This kind of sucks. So, for those of you who didn't know, the Creeping Growth affected Chaplain's conviction. So, Chaplain got conviction, and now that will not happen. That sucks. Chaplain sucks. Chaplain will always suck. Ooh, the Soil Stirs no longer ignores... Okay, this is good. All right, that doesn't really matter. So this is very interesting. So taunts are huge for Soil Stirs. Flash Powder consumes combo. Ooh. Oh, this is dangerous. So Crack Shot has their HP increased and their speed increased. Crack Shots are the pillagers that shoot from the back row. They are only dangerous in rank 4. But they can stun, they can nuke stun rank 1. And they've now changed Shell Shock, which does stress and weak. So that's interesting. So they've gotten slightly stronger. Fire Mouths are getting faster. All right, so speed is going to be a thing now. I mean, speed's always been a thing, but speed is more important now in these trash fights. Ooh, more burn from Breath Fire. All right, interesting. So these guys were not very dangerous at all. They're getting a little bit of danger. Increased bleed from low blow. They move forward 4 on Wild Swing. That's interesting. HP increased. Speed increased on Mongrels. Lost Souls getting HP increased. Ooh, Filthy Morsel now moves them up more, though. Chomp damage up, but stress is down. So overall, Lost Souls are easier. Urchin decreased HP. Increased damage a little bit. Not a big change. Ooh, Widow. Widow gets a nice little buff. Although Don't Look doesn't get stress damage. So she is now one you want to move to the front. Also, Gruesome Affliction got a nerf. Alright, so they juiced the Woodsman. A little more HP. He's going to be pretty dangerous on Sturdy. Sturdy Ordained. Skulker. Ooh, increased pig sticker damage. That's good. It could low roll pretty bad. So that's cool. Ooh, increased stealth. Alright, so they increased their stealth to 2 on Skitter. So yes, Chalk Dust is huge. If you're going to the Sluice, get yourself some Chalk Dust. Brutes. Increased damage. Sure. These are all fine. Just damage increased across the board. The Sluice is too easy right now. That's good. Ooh. The Shambler has become much more powerful. The Shambler was too easy. You don't see it that much without Infernal, but maybe we'll see it with Infernal back. Fights with the Shambler will reduce your torch to 1, but then your torch will go back up. Ooh, Shambler receives significant bonuses if you bring Shambler spawn pet. HP increased. Oh no. No way. You're going to spawn the Shambler in with 2 dodge? Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Increased resistances. Increased bleed. Increased crit. Oh, look at this nonsense. Odorous Advancement now grants a block plus. Withdrawal now grants a dodge. This is insane. This actually is a huge, huge buff. Oh, they even buffed the little bros. All right, sure. All right, confession bosses. This is big. All right, so Chaplain Confession still sucks. Paralyzing Fear no longer causes stun if 2 or less heroes remaining. That's interesting. Ooh, Obsession boss changes. So Obsession is the boss everyone hates. Let's see what they changed. Added buff to Focus Vault. Apply to attacker when crit. Combo when attacker has no focus token. So you gain combo if you crit the fault, if I'm reading that right, and you don't have a focus token. Suppress will only be used when the hero party has 2 or more combo tokens rather than random. So suppress only happens if you gain combo by critting the focused fault with non-focused enemies. That's interesting. So they nerfed suppress, but you eat limerence more. Okay, this is interesting. Limerence, instead of having a range of damage, it is now 16 damage with plus 20. So, wait, limerence is only 16, and then I assume a crit of 1.5 is 24, and then you get an additional 4 per focus token. So that'd be 20. So that'd be 30 for a crit on limerence. It now applies a Vaughn token. All right. So that's to get through your Man-at-Arms block. You can now resist the healing received debuff. It makes debuffs much stronger. Improved academic view descriptions. That's good. All right. So this is the huge change. In phase 1, when you get seen by the eyes, it used to be you use taunt, right? That used to be the strat. You just load up on taunt. You eat all the taunt. Now, they only target their mirrored rank. So this is interesting. So this means you can only get the scene tokens on your hero if you all on one hero, if you use movement. So if you want everything on, say, your Man-at-Arms, you've got to move. And in exchange, they lowered damage on limerence. Okay. Okay. So I have no idea how this is going to go. I have no idea. So it's going to make phase 1 much, much different. You can also blind. That's interesting. You can blind the eyes. And the eyes also got slower. And they do not grow to max size in round 1 or 2. So phase 1 is going to be longer, I guess. While you try and rearrange the eyes and rearrange your own tank hero. I'm not sure how that's going to go. But we'll see. This completely changes the fight. So Act 3 is completely changed. So don't watch my Act 3 guide. It sucks now. All right, tool tip improvements. Location and route scouting are now different. Blah, 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 blah. Lots of stuff, lots of stuff, lots of stuff. All right. So overall, insane changes. Not just, you know, we're getting the new axe. We knew that was happening. They changed so many items. I mean, I can't even... The relationship changes are going to be crazy. Like, this is one of the big ones. Blessed and Cursed skills are now weighted with usage, not just mastery, so that's cool. They've added so much. You have Radiant mode, you have... I mean, we're going to go over all this tomorrow. I will be here when the game releases. I will be live. I'll also have my guide up. I'll have 2 guides up that day. I'll have 2 guides up on Tuesday. And then we'll also continue runs. If you're interested, I currently have my guides up early on Patreon, or if you become a YouTube member, I have just a few guides up and available. Anyways, this is the final video of Early Access. Thank you all for being here. This has been a crazy 7 months for me, and I'm really looking forward to a 1.0 launch. Thank you all, and goodbye.